What's up, everybody? This is Maurice, life coach DTW. Decided to do a video today, man. Several things to address and discuss. So this video is going to be just a little bit different. Um, Here in just a few, though, we're going to go over communication from a relationship setting just a little bit. We're going to go over the entire thing on my next dating and relationship class, which I don't have a date for that yet. I really want to really want people to get this and understand what's going on. So it'll be during a weekday, maybe a Friday. Maybe we'll do the last Friday of this month or the first Friday of March. But we're going to do a dating and relationship class. It's going to go over communication, dating in today's time, traumas, childhood traumas, and how it affects your relationships today, all relationships, and so much more. Dating with a purpose. What is your purpose? Do you have a purpose? Just all things relationships and dating. I think, I get asked a lot of times, why am I a life coach and dating and relationships, et cetera, et cetera. I think, there is no other way to put it. My heart and my passion and my end goal, my ultimate goal, is to bring back healthy, loving two-parent relationships, two-parent households, bring back that loving, relationship the way it used to be back in the day. I feel like in my heart we have to get back to that, for our futures, for our kids to come up and see the right person loving their dad and the right person loving their mom, and to see how to love a woman, and to see a lot of these things. I mean, if you look around, there's a lot of adults dating and even married, in relationships and even married, with childhood traumas, with communication issues, and a lot of these things. So that's my heart. I'm not in it necessarily for monetary gain, but at the same time, I can't do this for free. I have a family to feed myself. Speaking of that, my son's upstairs, so he may cry or anything. So if you hear that, please forgive me. But there's nothing I can do about him crying other than he's with his mom. He's in good hands. Second, I wanted to address. So a lot of people ask me. The first thing they always ask me, Maurice, I love your videos, but why do you got that weird filter on there? First and foremost, I love that filter. Because some of these topics that we're going to talk about and discuss are serious, and to me, that just allows people to ease into it a little bit better. Secondly, everybody's doing videos and everybody's a life coach and everybody's, I wanted to set myself apart and be different. So if you don't like that particular filter, I'm sorry, but it ain't going nowhere. I love it. I like to be different. And I want people to focus. Number one, I want the video to get your attention. Number one. Number two, I want people to focus on what I'm saying, not necessarily that. So once you can get past the initial filter, then we can get into the meat and potatoes of the video, which is what I'm talking about. So with that being said, man, I love the merch. You know what I'm saying? I hope you got yours. All of my clients will get a shirt or a hoodie, as well as one of these journals. I love it. I've been writing in it. Keep track of my goals. How are y'all doing on your goals? If you need some support, email me. I think so. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have 25 people. I'm going to send out a Zoom link. We're going to have 25 people or more if we need to, but the goal is 25 people. And the price for my dating and relationship class, you're going to get a certificate of completion. We're going to have one in person, and then I'm also going to record it. That way you can go back and watch it at your own, your own convenience. But you'll get one of these. You'll get a certificate of completion, and a bunch of other goodies, as well as information and stuff for you to think about. Last thing that I want to address, I'm called Do the Work, number one, because I love that name. Number two, the name Do the Work doesn't mean that I'm going to do the work for you. I'm going to help you do the work. I'm going to support you in doing the work and reaching your goals and different things. So with that being said, let's get right into it. I just wanted to discuss some things in today's time. Communication, again, I can't go into all of this, but it will be in the dating and relationship class. We're going to shoot probably for the first Friday in March, but I will let you know. And also, if you haven't, look us up, DTW Life Coaching on YouTube. There, I'll really go in. See, Facebook and Instagram, it's cool, but there I'll really go in. So make sure subscribe to DTW Life Coaching on YouTube, and there you will also get snippets of the class. I may even have upload the entire class there, and different things as well. So make sure subscribe on that YouTube channel. But I wanted to talk about a few things in communication. You know, I've been married going on 2 years. The best thing that ever happened to me is my wife. There's nothing I can say about that. The best thing that ever happened to me is my wife and my kids. But, you know, even sometimes, you know, if I'm not mindful, and if we're not mindful, we can have communication issues and problems, and some that we don't even recognize we have. As I was doing a lot of the research and a lot of the studying for this communication part, some of it I realized that I, even myself, do. And it's not necessarily, it's about first acknowledging the issue and being honest, like, hey, I had this issue, or B, I don't, you know. But communication is so important in relationships, and not just partner relationships and dating relationships, you know, but even business relationships, friend relationships. Communication is so important. And a lot of people don't, you know, understand the importance and the power of not only communication, but effective communication. We get so caught up sometimes in just communicating, you know, we forget the effectiveness of it, or lack thereof. So with that being said, just a few things, you know, and again, we're going to dive into this deeper on the YouTube channel. We're going to dive into this deeper in the dating and relationship class. I think that's going to be so powerful, you know, so make sure and tap in, make sure and get into these classes if you can. It's going to be so wonderful, I promise you. So first and foremost, when we're talking about communication, and this is for couples right now, I wrote some notes down just to keep me on track, because my mind goes and I'd be at 100 million, you know, places at one time. But first of all, recognize and be honest the areas that you need some work in as far as communication. I know a lot of people, you know, tone, facial expression, and body language matters. And sometimes you may not even mean to do certain things, but it still matters. You know what I mean? So recognize the areas that you need some work in. Maybe you need to recognize your facial expressions. People not, you know, it's not the message that you're trying to communicate. It's the everything else that comes with the message that they're not receiving, which enables them to not receive the message that you're trying to communicate and get across. I know I'm gonna be super honest. Somebody can come tell me something and be 100% honest and truthful, but if their presentation is not right, it prevents me from receiving what they have to say, whether they mean it or not. So from on a receiving end of it, whether you mean that or not, you know, your body language, your facial expressions, your energy, your vibration, all of these things matter if you're trying to effectively communicate, because it's about a resolution. It's not about necessarily being right or wrong all the time. It's about a resolution. And if you're in a relationship, it's about a compromise and a resolution. So it's about reaching that goal, not necessarily about being right or wrong all the time. It's about expressing your feelings and your concerns and getting them out there as well. So be mindful of these things. And if you have a problem with some of these things, first recognize that, hey, I have a problem with this, and then make a super duper effort to pay attention as you talk, to pay attention to your body language and your facial expression and your tone. You know, nobody's going to be perfect, especially if you're just now realizing, hey, I do have this issue. You know, you're not going to be perfect day 1, day 2, day 10, day 20, but make that effort to realize it, focus on it. And if you need to say, hey, I'm sorry, my tone came off this way, you know, this is why, yada, yada, I'm gonna work on that. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. But, you know, we have to tackle these things if we're going to, you know, communication or lack of communication. I mean, look how many problems in the world that could be solved with effective communication. You know what I'm saying? So that's how important, especially if you're talking about in a relationship, and especially if you're talking about in a marriage. You know, so first recognize the problem. Are you passive aggressive? Do you have passive aggression? So what is that? It's a way of expressing hidden anger instead of addressing the conflict head on. Passive aggressiveness. Man, I can't. Oh my goodness gracious. I was a communicator like that before. You know, I crack jokes. This here says crack jokes about your partner being late. As an example, being late. You're cracking jokes about it, but it really pisses you off. Giving the silent treatment for being late. These are things that you want to avoid, especially in a relationship. Making digs at their decision or whatever the case made them, late. You know what I'm saying? Passive aggressive. These are things that you want to avoid, especially, making digs at their decision, because that's a form of mental abuse. Let's be real. Emotional abuse. You know what I'm saying? So, and you probably just upset about them, being late. But there's a healthy way to communicate that. There's a healthy way to resolve that. And you definitely don't want to go down that road of mental or, of course, not physical, but mental and emotional abuse simply because you're aggravated. You know what I'm saying? So, you definitely don't want to do that. So, and I found I used to be, especially when I was upset, years and years ago. I don't believe that I'm that. I've always been a great communicator, in my opinion. But I'm not perfect even still today. But I do recognize my mistakes. My wife, one thing that we do, no relationship or marriage is perfect, but one thing that we do well is, we don't communicate let me put it like this. If one of us is extremely angry, we don't communicate right then and there. We process that. We figure out what we're really mad about, what we're really angry about, and then we come back and discuss it when neither one of us. It might be a day or 2 or 3 days later. But then we come back and discuss it in a healthy way. Hey, I just didn't like what you said, or I didn't like the way you said it, or I feel like you weren't doing this. And even then, once you do that, a lot of times you'll come to find out that maybe that person, my wife, as an example, just for the sake of an argument, was having a bad day. She didn't mean to come off that way, and I just took it personally. Or, maybe, I misunderstood what she was trying to convey. But definitely we don't argue in anger. We don't go to bed mad. We have the freedom. It's okay for my wife to have a bad day. It's okay for me to have a bad day. But the goal in our communication is to come to an effective resolution. The way she gets what she wants and I get what I want. So that being said, you definitely don't want to get into emotional and mental abuse, calling someone crazy or stupid for doing these things, or downing them, especially that's your partner. You understand what I'm saying? And you're only as strong as your partner. So you only as strong a team, I should say, as your partner. You never want to down your partner. And sometimes, like I said, people don't even realize they're doing it. So we're going to give you some couple of quick tips to improve your communication. And again, we're going to dive deep into this on the YouTube channel. We're going to dive even deeper than that in the class. So if you have communication issues, that's okay. Nobody's perfect. That's why we're having this class. If you have communication issues, you want to make sure that number one, you subscribe on the YouTube channel. Number two, get into that class. I think so. What we're going to do is we're going to do the classes for $200, and we're going to do a promo code KC Life Coach. That'll get you $50 also. For $149.99, we'll do that, something like that. But it's so much information and learning about yourself and others as far as dating and relationship goes. So with that said, we're going to get right into tips to improve your communication. Process your feelings first. Like I just said, my wife and I do. We do that all the time. If she's super upset or if I'm super upset, that conversation is over. a day or two or three until we process it. Then we come back. A lot of times we even laugh like, man, I was tripping. You know what I'm saying? I was tripping that day. I don't know what was up. But that's super important. Process your feelings first. Number two, think about timing. I know a lot, especially a lot of times, sometimes when a woman wants to communicate, she wants to communicate right then, right there, and right now. And it's not that I don't want to communicate. This is just as an example. It's not that I don't want to communicate, or it's not that your partner necessarily doesn't want to communicate, but he's not in a mental space, or he or she, let's just say he or she, they're not in a mental space to receive what you're saying in a healthy way. So let's put this off 5 or 10 minutes. Let me calm down, or let me get some, let me figure out what's going on in my head. 5 or 10 minutes, 30 minutes, a day or two. There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. Timing, as an example, my wife works 12-hour shifts. I got my hands in everything, sometimes a long day, been working all day, 12, 13, 14 hours. This problem's going on, that problem's going on. And it's not that I don't want to hear what you're saying. It's just, let me come home, kick my feet up 5 or 10 minutes. Let me process my thoughts, and then we can communicate. If nobody's life's in danger, if it's not a life-threatening situation, nobody is in danger or anything like that, we can definitely communicate. Give me 5 or 10, 20 minutes or tomorrow, or whatever the case may be. But timing is everything, because it's about them receiving your communication. Again, a lot of us get so caught up in being right that, we want to be right. We don't care about a resolution all the time. We just want to be right. I was right. Yeah, you're right, but the relationship is suffering. So don't get caught up in any of that. You want it to be received. You want it to be received in a healthy way, and ultimately come to a resolution and a compromise. So keep those things in mind. Tip number 3, start with I statements. And this is tricky. And what they mean, what I mean by that, start with I statements, is, hey, I feel that, this is what I'm feeling. Basically, don't point the finger. Again, that's one of the things that will cause the other person to be defensive. Even I'm gonna say this, even if you feel that the other person did do something wrong, it's about, again, not being right. It's about compromise and resolution. So you have to learn in communication, especially in relationships. You have to learn, to watch how you come off and not point the finger. So when I say start with I statements, hey, I feel that this could have been done a different way, or I feel, what do you, things of that nature. Start with I statements. Number 4, focus on being heard and listening. This is a huge one. A lot of times, especially in the heat of an argument, we just want to be heard. We don't want to listen to what the other person has to say. And one thing that I do, we're nearing 20 minutes, so I'm gonna hurry up. I'm gonna shut this video off at 20 minutes. But one thing that I do, conversation's over. Once you have your mouth ready to respond, before I finish my sentence, conversation's over. That already tells me you're not listening to me. You're listening to respond and not understand. That's just me. I'm not telling you to do that. But that goes no matter who I'm talking to, no matter where I'm at, conversation's over. Because you want to be heard, you don't want to listen. And it has to be 50-50, especially in a relationship, especially in a marriage. So you want to focus on being heard and listening at the same time. So number 5, again, I've been saying this all day, make compromising and resolution the goal. It's not about being right. Some of us so caught up on being right. And I used to be that way, yo. I used to be that way. Yeah, I'm right. Relationship in shambles, but I'm right. Like, how much sense does that make? It's about being in a healthy, happy relationship. It's about being in a healthy, happy marriage. It's about being a healthy, happy person. So if you're one of those I'm right all the time, just try to think about, it's about a compromise and a resolution. So with that being said, we're nearing 20 minutes. Thank you for your time. I hope this helped you. There's several more tips. There's several more things to avoid. There's several more communication pieces and things that we're going to go over. Again, subscribe. DTW, Do the Work. It has this logo on it. DTW, Do the Work YouTube channel. We're gonna have several videos and tips. I'm really going in on that channel right there. No holds barred. I'm not gonna watch my language. I'm not gonna spare no feelings. That's where we, including myself, is gonna get this business at, is the YouTube channel. Facebook and Instagram, I got to be a little bit more, whatever the case may be. But I'm really going in on those channels. So subscribe. You don't want to miss nothing. I'm going to give away as much as I can for free. But again, it's not all about the money, but I do have a family to feed. So again, to me, this information is priceless. You know, if you pay whatever you pay, whatever, you know, if you know, we can go get these Jordans and we can go get these different other things that we want. You know what I'm saying? So if you know, you pay whatever the case may be for this, and it leads you to a happy place. It leads you to be a happy, you know, happy partner, and it helps your relationship. It helps your marriage. It gives you vision and boundaries and goals for this dating thing. It's priceless. You can't put a price on that. So with that being said, my name is Maurice. Thank you for your time, and I'm out.